Welcome back, gamers. It has been a while since I last talked to you guys. This might be the first time some of you might be hearing my voice, since my YouTube subscriber count have doubled since the closed beta test. This update video is a little late because I finally finished going through all the stuff that I wanted to see from the data mines. And there was a lot of stuff to go through, including the over 20k audio files and the 10k image files. There were also things like character models, weapon models, map design, as well as some gameplay mechanics that wasn't in the closed beta test. For our first bit of news, we got confirmation that Azur Promilia will be at Tokyo Game Show 2025. Originally, I was gonna make a video going over the combat, but without visuals, I think I would just hold it off until the game actually releases. However, I will give you a brief explanation right now so you can see that this combat system is actually pretty complicated. First, you have the 3 characters, and each character have 5 different roles. Then you have the 3 keybows, and they each have 3 different roles. And then you have the 9 elements, as well as the physical and magical split. Currently, the only characters with magical attacks are Lu Jing, Abby, and Ludica. Coincidentally, they are also all water element. The combat in Azur Promilia revolves around these 9 different elements and their debuffs. Alright, with that out of the way, let's take a brief look at the player statistics from the Azur Promilia's closed beta test. This one is about what people did in the home base, like how many eggs that have been hatched. This is how many times the players have went to Ludica for healing. The most played character was Abby. The most chosen starter was the grass one, Leaf Fox. And the most captured keybow was Bloomy. Abby, of course, was the most popular mount. And here are some numbers about the amount of variants and shinies that were caught. And now we get to the main topic of today's video, the developer feedback for the closed beta test. This is the English translated one from Reddit, but I also have the original one open in case some of the translations are off. Before I go through this, here are some of my thoughts about the game so far. Azur Promilia is still everything I want in a gacha game. From the characters, the keybows, the JRPG aesthetics. From what I found in the data mines, the core game is pretty much complete. All they really have to do is optimize some stuff and add some quality of life improvements. Which is a great sign because this is a closed beta test, so they have plenty of time to fix all of those issues. Alright, let's start going over the feedback from the devs. First up, we got some excessive memory usage and lag, which is fine for closed beta test standards. Then they have some screen noise and graininess they have to fix. Then the issue with the larger keybows, which I do see being an issue, but it's not really that big a deal. Then we got some UI improvements. And then music and sound improvements. Then we have the story and quests. Enhanced character development for certain characters. What does that mean? I was talking about the keybow, not the characters. So the keybow stories. Added subtitles for cutscene animations. Great, like that should be a standard. And it's a great quality of life improvement already. Added story dialogue review. Okay, so for the people that skip cutscenes, you have a brief little summary. Improve the quality of certain side quests. Yeah, this for sure needed to be improved. In the closed beta test, there was a side quest that needed to be completed in order for the main quest to keep going. And a lot of people got stuck in the main story because they didn't know they had to do this side quest. Optimize multiplayer dialogue and camera angle. I don't think this means multiplayer. Let me see. Yeah, it's just talking about multiple characters on screen when they're talking, not multiplayer. Since we're talking about multiplayer, there are hints that there is multiplayer slash co-op in the data mines. For the keyboard duels, there should definitely be multiplayer. As for co-op, dungeon runs or raid bosses would be a great idea. Imagine fighting the Shadow Blaze in a 4-player co-op setting. Keep in mind that this is just what I found in the data mines, and the final version of the game can be different. Alright, let's continue with the death notes. Oh, this is where they're talking about how players got stuck in the main quest because they didn't do a side quest. And some of these side quests should be main quests because they teach you the basics of the game. And then they improved the quest tracking, which is nice. Next we have some system and guidance optimization. I'm guessing this is for tutorials. So they added more tutorials for shortcut keys, more tutorials for the keyboard system, and this one is big. They added quick jumps to materials, which is a very good quality of life update. Then they improved the tutorial for the home base right here, as well as a tutorial for the keyboard variations, I guess. They sped up Lumi's tutorial text. Lumi is the little fairy that Symphoria has, I believe. And another good quality of life update. When catching repeat keyboards, you can quickly feel their details. And then we get a big quality of life update. You could actually see the stats and stuff of the armor and weapons that you are crafting. In the closed beta test, you could not see the stats of the equipment that you were crafting. For the color schemes of the keyboard, I guess they wanted to make it so that people can distinguish them easier. This is just talking about the Starlink cards and how it will default to the lowest quality after you use your highest quality cards. Here they changed how the keyboard get their skills. Hatched keyboards will be the same as the wild keyboards. Oh, and here's a very important one for me. The red dots are just there to annoy you. It just makes me think I haven't done everything yet. So I'm glad that this is already fixed. Okay, then we have some marking features of the map improved. Then they fixed the Pokédex for the keyboards for the shinies. And then they improved the star blessing and equipment systems. For equipment, you have a weapon, a top, a bottom, earrings, and a ring. All of them can be crafted in the home base. And then we get this line right here, which, let me check the original. Yeah, future test, that's what it says. Hopefully Global will be able to participate. Next, they added another quality of life improvement with the shops. So you could probably just shop from the menu instead of having to go to the physical shop in game. Now we get to the exploration portion. They made it so that the transition from water to land is more smooth. They fixed the targeting for the keyboard puzzles. They made it more easy to distinguish between completed and uncompleted puzzles. Looks like they increased the range for collecting stuff. And improved the focus function. Looks like they're already improving the keyboard response. Improvements to the quest UIs, I think. And then improvements to the results page of these quests. Next is for the combat, which is a very big part that needs improvement. It looks like they already know about the frequent disengagement issues from fighting. If you run too far, they just disengage and get back to full health. Here's another big quality of life improvement right here, where they could change the size of the damage numbers. And here's another quality of life improvement already, edge protection from falling off for both the player and the keyboards. Since there's no climbing in this game, falling off the edge is just a very big time waster. So by putting an invisible wall, it just takes away that issue. For this next one, I guess it's fine, but since I haven't had first-hand experience, I couldn't really tell you. Then they made improvements to the lock-on. as well as improvements to the camera angles when fighting bigger enemies. Next, we have arguably the most important gameplay mechanic of Azur Promilia, the home base system. Looks like they added a to-do list feature and made it easier to feed the keybones. This third point right here is already in the closed beta test, so I guess they just improved it. Then they also added a planting queue and improved the balance between the home base and wild resource collection so that the early game would be a better experience. Then there are improvements to the sorting feature, improvement to descriptions, improvements to the keyboard's hunger levels, and improvements to the keyboard's egg hatching displays. And finally, we got to the keyboard duel section. They made it easier for the players by recommending the element that they should be using for the duel. They've also added a much needed top-down view option for the keyboard duels. Then there are improvements to the summoning of the keyboards. And finally, they made some adjustments to the characteristics and skills of the keyboards. If this game does have PvP, it will probably be in the keyboard mode. Alright, that was a very insightful look at how the developers plan to improve the game, as well as what they already done to improve it. For now, all we can do is wait and hopefully get some great news from Tokyo Game Show 2025. Players will also be able to playtest the game just like at Bilibili World. Hopefully, we get a release date announcement, and if not, hopefully an announcement for a global closed beta test. Alright, that's about it for this little update video. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.